It looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day.
It's gonna be alright, yeah, yeah. How can you tell? Yeah, yeah. I feel it in my heart, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be okay, yeah, yeah. The sun is shining bright unto another day, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. Hey, hey, hey. If at first you don't succeed, you better try again. Hey, hey, hey. The clenched fist can't plant a seed. Just open up your hand. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be alright. I feel it in my heart. It's gonna be alright. You're gonna find your way. It's gonna be alright. Hey.
So when I was a kid, I worked for my father. My dad was an auctioneer, and most of that work involved moving heavy furniture. You know, sometimes he would have an auction at somebody's house. Other times he would buy up multiple estates, and we would spend days hauling all that stuff to another location and have a big auction there. The days of the auction, I worked as a runner. You know, I'd be that kid standing there holding up whatever was for sale. Once it's sold, I would take it to whoever bought it and repeat that process until the auction was over, and would clean up and go home. I also worked for my dad some around the house refinishing furniture. He was really good at that. If you remember back in the day, people used to really like those old oak ice boxes. You know, they were beautiful. But when he would buy them, they would have 6 or 8 layers of paint on them, would strip everything off, refinish them, and then he would sell them at his own auctions. And he did pretty well with that. My dad was a lot like me. Actually, I should say I'm a lot like my dad. He always had that side hustle. You know, he had a real job, and then he had his auction business. And I've always had side jobs my whole life. But anyway, when I turned 16, I got a job at a little grocery store in town, and I was still working for my dad as well at the auctions. But I worked at the deli, you know, waiting on customers, cutting meat. Really wasn't my thing, but didn't enjoy it a whole bunch. But I was 16 years old, getting a steady paycheck, so that was pretty cool. Then, when I graduated high school, 1984. It's unbelievable. It seems like forever ago. But as soon as I got out of high school, I got a job with a construction company. Now, these guys, they built roads, a little bit of bridge work, deep sewer lines, water lines, site development, all types of things. And when I started there, they're in the process of building a new shop and a new office building. And it was a good job for a young guy. I made decent money, but I got tons of experience. When I first started, I would pressure wash equipment. Actually, back then it was with a steam Jenny. That wasn't a lot of fun. You know, middle of summer, you got all full rain gear on, and you're blowing boiling water basically on those old 631 scrapers. You know, the grease would be about this thick. That was miserable. But I mean, I learned how to paint. You know, I painted some equipment. I did some welding. I learned to run crane there. You know, we'd load and unload trucks, and I did a little bit of everything there. Anything the guys out in the field would need, I would make sure they got it. And but yeah, it was a pretty good job, especially for a kid that's, you know, 18, 19 years old. And I worked there about 5 years, and there's a local guy, and he would always ask me, when are you going to go to work for us, Morgan? And he owned a drilling and blasting company. Well, one day I was ready for a change. So I quit my job and called them, and next thing you know, I'm in the drilling and blasting business. And I didn't know anything. You know, I just started, never been on a shot, didn't have any idea what they were doing. And to become a blaster, you had to be an apprentice for about a year, and then you could take a test. And they had these classes, and you could take a test. If you passed, you become a licensed blaster. Well, I was there for probably a whopping month and a half, and the owner said, hey, you know, these classes are coming up for your blaster's test. I'm going to get you signed up. I'm like, I've only worked here like a month and a half. I don't have enough time. He's like, don't worry about that. I'll take care of that. He's like, don't worry, you won't be shooting for a while, you know. He said, just get your license though. I said, okay. So I go, I take the test, and it's a lot of math, and I've always been good at math, and it was easy, passed the test. I'm a licensed blaster. It wasn't 2 weeks later, one of their blasters quit, went to a different company, and there I am loading a shot at a strip mine up north. You know, 2 months before that, I didn't know the difference between a stick of dynamite and a bottle of pop, and I shot my first shot by myself, and it went pretty well. I mean, I got all my fingers and toes and limbs and everything, but from that, I did some work in the strip mines and then quarries, and then I kind of found my niche in the heavy highway construction. I kind of enjoyed that. It was real fast-paced and always different each day, and working on big highway projects. So I worked for them for about 5 years, but I was traveling a lot, and I was recently married, and we had Hunter, our oldest son, you know, with autism, nonverbal, and it was tough back then. It really was. And it seemed like the harder you worked, you were just spinning your wheels. You weren't getting anywhere. And Melissa was struggling with Hunter, and then she had Levi. And, you know, I'm working out of town. I would leave, you know, Sunday afternoons, 10-hour drive to New Hampshire. That was the last job I was on. And work all week, leave Friday nights, drive home through the night, and do the whole thing all over again. So I wanted to find something closer to home. And by that point, I got to be pretty well known in the blasting community. It's not a very big community, so you kind of know everybody. And I was good at that. I was a good blaster. So what I started doing is just working for whoever got a big job. You know, these big highway projects would be awarded to a contractor. I could just ring them up, be like, hey, you need a blaster? Yep, absolutely. And I'd work for them for maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 18 months. And then I'd move on to the next big job. And I did that for about 7 or 8 years, I guess. And then I finally settled in with one contractor, local, family-owned business. And it was great. We had a lot of fun. I mean, back then you could have fun out on the jobs, you know. And I still talk to those guys today. But man, if I had a YouTube channel back then, what a list of characters that I used to work with, man. We had a lot of fun. I got to tell you this one story. I know I'm going to get off track here, but I had a bulk truck driver, and he went by Cheeks because he had these puffy cheeks. And Cheeks brings this wooden box one day to work, and I'm like, what's that, Cheeks? He says, that's a shaky box. You ever see one? No idea what you're talking about. All it was an oak box with some felt in it and a couple dice in it. And I guess it's like liar's poker or something. I don't know. But when you're blasting, you know, you have a whole bunch of holes to load, and then you get caught up to the drill, and you can't get too close to the drill, so you might wait 45 minutes for them to get ahead of you, and you'd catch up to them again. So you always had some time to kill. So we started playing this shaky box. Well, the guy that brought the powder to us, you know, you'd like shake it, look, and you'd say, you know, I got a pair of fours or whatever. And the next guy could either beat your pair of fours, or he'd call you a liar and open the box. If you're lying, you owed him a quarter. Well, this one guy, I don't think he ever won, ever once. He was horrible at it. And what I picked up on right away was every time he was lying, he would push the box into your hand. If he was telling the truth, he'd hand it to you real gently. But if he was lying, he'd push it into your hand. And we figured this out quick. I mean, we cleaned up, and it was driving him crazy. I mean, we went months of this, and him not knowing. And finally he comes to me, he's like, Mike, you got to tell me what's going on. How do you guys know when I'm lying? Please tell me. I said, Randy, I'll tell you, but you can't tell anybody else. He's like, I promise. What is it? I said, every time you lie, Randy, your ear twitches. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yep, that's what it is, Randy, you know. He's like, oh my. So then what he'd do, he'd be lying, he'd push it into your hand and turn his head so you couldn't see his ear. But yeah, we had a lot of fun. We really did. But I worked for that company for about 10 years, and then the owner passed away, and we had a new president, and I could kind of see the writing on the wall. Things were starting to slow down a little bit, and then we got sold to a new company. Didn't like them at all. But at this time was when the whole Marcellus shale drilling started here in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and we were building well pads at the time. So one of the big energy companies that I worked for, I got to know those guys, and they were definitely hiring, and it was a whole process, you know, big corporation. It took about a month to get hired, and I started there, and it was at that point I thought I made it. You know, I was about 44 years old, and that was the first job I ever had that I had paid vacation, and that's when I thought I made it. You know, it's always beat into our heads when we're young. You know, you get that good job with the benefits, the 401k, you know, safe, secure, all that. So it was at that point at age 44, I thought, boy, I'm doing pretty good right now. But all through those years, I always did something on the side. You know, the big, heavy highway jobs, you might work 6 days a week for 8 months straight and you'd have a month off. I'd always be doing something. I had a snow plowing business. When I was working, I had a guy that would do it for me. I moved dirt for people. I built decks, anything you could think of. Sold tons of firewood, but I always had that side gig. So anyway, I worked for this oil and gas company for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. And then we got sold. The division that I worked in got sold, but they had another one in Ohio and they asked me to stay with them. So I said, yeah, I'll definitely stay. So I moved up to Ohio, started working there. I mean, I still lived here, but actually Ohio was closer for me anyway. So a couple more years go by and I'm making good money and everything. Things are great, nice bonuses. And then that got sold to a completely different company. New company worked out great. I thought, boy, we dodged a bullet here, you know, and everything was working out really well. And I worked there for a couple years. And, you know, like I say, nice bonuses, great boss, great guys that I work with. Everything's just clicking, you know what I mean? And yesterday, yeah, today's Saturday. Yesterday was my last day. I just walked away from it all. And actually, I have all you guys to blame for it. Believe it or not, if you didn't watch this channel, I would not have left my job. And that's the truth. You know, like I said, for years, I've always had a side business. And, you know, you have your real job here and your side business here. And over the years, you know, the income and everything from the real job creeps up. The side stuff just kind of fluctuates, you know, up and down, up and down. Somehow, some way, I have no idea how this happened, my side job has kind of turned into my real job. And it was one of the hardest decisions that I ever made. It really was, because like I said, it's beat into your head, you know, get that safe, secure job and with the benefits, the 401k. But what I have found over the last couple years is I finally found out what I really want to do in life. I have. I'm 54 and I finally figured it out. And, you know, a lot of people that watch some of these videos, not a lot, but some, you know, I'm making a video, how hard can that be? I'll be completely honest with you. The YouTube channel is much harder than the real job I just walked away from. Straight up, that's the truth right there. I have busted my butt at this YouTube channel. I really have. People don't realize, some people don't realize the work that is involved. But for the last couple years, I have been building this channel. I've been meeting you guys, talking to you guys, interacting with everybody, and I love it. I do. And it's just been a wonderful thing, and I have all you guys to thank for it. So if this all goes to pot, I'm blaming you guys, but I don't think it will, because I think what's going to happen is the content's going to get a lot better. I really do, because what you guys have been seeing is an hour and a half or 2 hours worth of work in the evening, and we shoot a video. I edit it at 4 o'clock in the morning, publish the next day, and move on to the next one. But now that I have more time, I think you're going to see a lot better videos where you'll see little projects and things that are a day long or 2 day long, condensed into 10 or 15 minutes. And I am so looking forward to it. I've got a bounce in my step. I'm ready to go. I really am. I'm very, very excited about it. And I owe it all to you guys. I do. If it wasn't for you guys watching this channel, this never would have happened. But it is just amazing how things work out. You know, a couple years ago, I was right out there in the woods. Yeah, about 100 yards out there, and I made my first video on cutting firewood. Melissa thought I was nuts, and it just kind of kept growing. And here we are today. It's hard to believe. It really is. But so that's where we're at right now. I'm going to get Melissa's take on this whole thing. She's at a Hannah's wedding shower right now. And when she gets back, we're going to have a little bit more to talk about. But that's where it is. I walked away from it all. It's gone. So Melissa just got back from Hannah's shower. How did that go?
Good. It's a nice shower. Pretty soon we'll be talking about the wedding.
It's coming right up. But, you know, I brought everybody up to speed on I no longer have a real job anymore. And I have finally figured out what I want to do in my life. And like I said, you guys watching this channel has made this possible. And we're very, very appreciative of that.
That's right.
I mentioned before, I think the content's going to get better. Like what they see is like 2 hours a night here, 2 hours a night there, everything that we're doing around here. But now you're going to see like all day projects and things condensed down into a 15-minute video or something like that. So I think it'll be really good. Other thing I'm going to have more time to do, I'd like to like take each morning, real early in the morning, and just go through emails for a half hour. You know what I mean? Like it just gets overwhelming, that Facebook messages, all that, but I'll definitely be able to get better at that. My goal is next week, sometime midweek, not to know what day it is, and more importantly, not care what day it is. That's what my goal is.
Good.
But yeah, it's been quite a journey. It really has. I've never envisioned that it would get to this point.
Me neither. I've never envisioned that I would have Mike home with me every day.
All day, every day, we'll be together.
Just,
won't that be fun?
It's almost hard to believe. It really
all
is.
Those years, though. I mean, I was telling them earlier, you know, working up in New Hampshire, you had Hunter. We were trying to figure out what was going on there, and then you had Levi, and it was really tough for her. And but there's a lot of reasons I made this decision. You know, I said it's always beat into our brains to get that stable, secure job with the retirement. But really, not everybody, but a lot of people I know that are in that situation are trying to find a way to get out as well.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
You just get in this daily grind.
Right.
And we all only have so much time. And I'm 54 years old, and I'm going to make the time that I have left, I'm going to make the best of it. I am. I'm going to do everything that I can to keep everybody happy here in the family, provide for everybody, do the things that we like to do, and start enjoying things a little bit more. I noticed the other day, I just went for a ride in the side-by-side, because this channel has turned into a job, and it's a great job, don't get me wrong, but I haven't been doing a lot of things that I like to do. You know what I mean? It's all about work, the channel. Like, I used to just go out for a hike in the woods and come back 2 hours later and see some deer or whatever. I haven't been doing that kind of stuff, and I'm going to try to do that kind of stuff more. And we'll bring you along on some of that stuff too. So there'll be some, you know, mostly work videos, things we're doing around here. That's what we like to do.
And just projects that we've talked about, or you know, maybe taking a trip or something. Like, those are things that we've talked about for years in our marriage, that we're like, whoa, one day we can build this, or maybe one day we can have a swimming pool, or maybe one day, like, those sorts of things we're able to find the time to do. Yeah,
it's life-changing. It is, and I'll literally have an extra 50 hours a week, and I'm going to put it to good use.
Yeah.
It's been...
And it's going to help with Hunter, too. Like, we're going to show him the new schedule. I know he's looking for his dad's work truck. I think he probably thinks it's in the garage being serviced.
Yeah.
But it's going to be good for him. That there's lots of projects that we can show Hunter. When you show Hunter something, you can plan on him doing it that exact way.
Yeah.
From there on out, and like the laundry, or like stacking wood, or those sorts of things. But we want to be able to that he is safe, and that he has plenty of projects to do, and move forward and do better as well. It's
going to be great. I'm really, really excited.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Really thankful. We're very blessed. Very, very much appreciative. I mean, it's been quite a ride getting here, though. I told them before, and it's the truth. To be honest, this is great. We love doing what we're doing, but it is a lot of work. And my real job that I just quit was actually a lot easier than besides driving in that truck all the time. I won't miss that too much, just all that windshield time. I just feel like it's wasted time. You know what I mean? I try to do like audio books or something, but I would say in the last 10 years in the oil and gas, I put close to 500,000 miles on. I've worn out several trucks. And but yeah, close to 500,000 miles and thousands of meetings, and it's all over. It's all done. Gonna be hanging out with you, Melissa.
Like I said, I can't believe it. I really can't.
A nervous little chuckle.
Make sure you go to Morgan's Off the Leash for an updated video on that.
Yeah, the behind the scenes thing.
But it has been a great thing, and Mike's right. His day job, that was his, main job, has become his side hustle almost, because he's put so much time into, when he gets home, he grabs his, his bucket of camera equipment, or it's in a box, and off he goes. So
and I'm going to try not to edit at 4 a.m. I'm going to try.
Well, yeah, that can change too.
Maybe at 5 a.m. I'll start doing that. I'm a morning person.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. So expect more of the same, but I think the content will be better, and I think it'll be more fun. I do. I really appreciate it.
All right, you might have to answer to me.
You want to wrap this video up, Melissa?
Yeah, good job, Mike. You worked hard. You've done good. Thanks so much to all of you for being here watching. For your comments, your likes, make sure you're subscribed, and comment down below. We love to hear from you. Thanks. We'll see you on the next one.